Do you really think you're going to look like Chris Hemsworth if you get his Centre app, or whatever it's called, his fitness app? That might be someone else's. Whatever his is, do you think if you train like him, you're going to look like Thor? Fuck no, it's not going to happen. What's going on, guys? It's Jacob, Sunday Lifters. Welcome back to the channel. And if you are back, it's been a hot minute, and I apologise for that. Just had a lot of sort of changes in my personal life, new job, some new goals for the next couple of years, a project that I've started that'll probably take me a long time to do. So just generally a lot less free time, but I'm going to make a commitment now to get one video done every week until the end of the year, where I'll review it and see if I can do more. If I'll just have to carry on doing the one video a week, we'll see. I've got to sort of take it month by month, but like I say, until the end of the year, one video every week as a minimum. Thought I'd come back with something a little bit more fun, a little bit more easygoing for me, so I get back into the swing of things, and also just a topic that is generally useful without all the science involved, and that is just busting 8 sort of fitness gym myths that are still lurking around, things I've seen in comment sections, things I've heard other sort of fitness influencers or YouTubers talk about, things you see all the memes about, just things that come up quite a lot. We're going to address 8 of them here today. So without further ado, let's crack on, get into this. But if you could just drop it a like, a comment, and consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already, guys. It's hugely appreciated, and it does help the channel grow. So myth number 1, you must have protein before and after your workout in order to maximize your muscle protein synthesis, or something along those lines is usually what you hear people say. Now, I'm not going to deny that there is some science behind the whole, spreading your protein out throughout the day, making sure you've got some protein reserves before you work out, and making sure you sort of fill up on it afterwards. There is some science behind that. It's not as simple as that. It's not as clear cut as that. But what is far more important than any of that is your overall protein consumption throughout the day. We've discussed before that a good ballpark to use that's just easy for most people to measure is 1 gram per pound body weight that you weigh. It's not exact. You don't actually have to have that much, but like I say, just for convenience sake, it's good to work with 1 gram per pound. It's very easy to work out. As a matter of fact, you will grow if you don't have any protein before or after your workout, but you get your overall protein consumption throughout the day. You could have it all in one meal at the end of the day if you wanted. As long as that number is hit, you will grow, you will see progress. Is it optimal? Not necessarily, but that's a different point entirely. Speaking of eating sort of one big meal before bed, that brings us to point number 2, which is eating calories before you go to sleep. It's more likely to get stored as fat, or it's a waste of calories. I don't know if this one sort of stemmed from somebody reasoning that obviously when you're sleeping you're not really burning any calories, but also eating right before you go to bed can interfere with your sleep, which a downstream effect of that will affect your recovery, your sort of metabolism. If you get poor sleep quality and you're a natural, then that's going to affect your testosterone and sort of other hormones as well. So there's this whole downstream cascade of things that happen when you have bad sleep that could in some way affect how your body utilizes the calories you have. However, calories are calories. A calorie is a calorie, whether you have it at day or night or before you go to bed. In the middle of your sleep, you wake up and have something. It doesn't matter. It's about how many you get in a 24-hour period. So, for example, if you are somebody who has 2,000 calories a day at maintenance, meaning you won't lose or gain weight, you'll just stay the same. If you were someone with 2,000 a day and you've had 1,500 and you go to bed, but you take a small 500 calorie meal to bed with you and eat that before you go to sleep, doesn't mean you're going to put weight on. And on the other hand, if you sort of had 1,800 calories and you have a 500 calorie meal before you go to bed and your maintenance is 2,000, you're now in a 300 calorie surplus. So if you did that for months on months, you are going to be accumulating weight over time. So That's probably where it comes from. People are very bad at tracking calories and sort of getting the numbers right as well. So maybe some people are eating, snacking before bed, miscalculating their overall calorie intake, and then thinking that it's because they ate before they go to bed that they're putting weight on or getting more body fat, and it's not. So anyway, like I said, I don't know exactly where this sort of originates from, but it's not entirely true. At the end of the day, calories in, calories out is the tried and true method for losing or gaining weight. Calories are a form of energy. It has to obey certain laws, thermodynamics. Number 3, spot reduction. Can't be done. It's as simple as that, really. And when I say spot reduction, what I'm referring to is when somebody says, I'm trying to burn fat from X part of my body, not really bothered about anywhere else, but let's say the stomach, for example. I want to burn stomach fat, not really bothered about burning fat anywhere else. Can't be done. You can only burn fat your body will choose where it comes from. You also have to accept that, you know, you can sort of work muscles and grow your muscles, and that will hopefully help make that body part, look less fat. You can try losing fat overall, your overall body fat percentage. That will also help up to a point, but don't make yourself miserable by getting stick thin. Other than doing those two things, there isn't really anything you can do to spot reduce. And like I say, those things aren't really spot reducing either. So there isn't really a way you can do it. The other thing you have to accept, and it sucks, but it's just a case, is if you've tried doing those two things and a body part's still lagging, you just have to accept that you're probably genetically inferior in that area. Take me, for example. Like I've spoke about it before. If spot reduction was a thing, believe me, I'd have abs all year round because I train hard and I've not got a huge amount of body fat. Okay, at the minute I'm sitting around 14.5, which is higher than I've been in a long time. But even when I was getting around 10% body fat and training like I am now, my abs showed on good days, and that's about it. So like I say, you can try losing overall body weight, working on a certain set of muscles to hopefully make it look less sort of fat, but ultimately there's only so much you can do, and you have to bear in mind your genetics. They do play a part. Myth number 4, more plates equals more dates. Now this has nothing to do with the YouTube channel that goes by the same name. We're merely talking about the actual saying more plates equals more dates. It's funny, and like it's definitely originated from gym bros because they're just like, yo, more plates, more dates, bro. Is it true? Unfortunately not. The science says otherwise. Unless the women you're trying to attract are also gym freaks who are into, powerlifting, bodybuilding, the whole sort of fitness gym lifestyle, most regular women are not interested in men with muscle past a certain point. Most women are just looking for someone who looks healthy, somewhat lean and athletic, and that's about it. They'll have, of course, that's not all women are looking for. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just talking in regards to how lean you are, how musculature you are, etc. Like I say, past a certain point, you're only going to be impressing dudes. And those types of gym chicks we talked about before. Unfortunately, guys, more plates does not equal more dates. Probably more cardio will equal more dates. Myth number 5, your rest times should be shorter. I don't understand where this one has come from, because if anything, it's better to have longer rest times, because if you have a longer rest time, you're only really wasting your own time. If you have too short of a rest time, you will, possibly still be fatigued, or that specific muscle will be. You're not going to get as many reps in. You might have to lower the weight. Any of those things can be a potential from too short of a rest time. There's not really any negative other than the wasted time on a longer rest time. Your muscle can't get too fully recovered that the set you just did before was a waste of time. That's not how it works. Ultimately, time under tension is the most important thing. As long as you're, if you're skipping out reps and stuff like that, you're lessening the time under tension, assuming your goal is muscle hypertrophy / growth. Strength is slightly different, but I'll assume you're looking for muscle growth. So yeah, I think it's better to have a longer rest, ultimately there is no one size fits all. You know, if you're doing isolation exercises like a bicep curl or a calf raise or something like that, your rest times are going to be shorter. Probably, it doesn't matter, but usually they are. Whereas if you're doing something like a squat or a deadlift, you know, sometimes I'm resting for like 3-4 minutes if that's what I feel like I need. It doesn't matter. It's better for me to do that than go, right, 1 minute's up, I need to get back on it right now. Why? So yeah, personally, really disagree with that one. Shorter rest time's bad, longer rest time good. I mean, ideally you want the sweet spot right in the middle. When you're ready to go, you go. But there's no point sort of, like I say, running the risk of interfering with your lifting by not having long enough. Better to have too long. Myth number 6, celebrities like The Rock and Chris Hemsworth are not on steroids. They are. Myth number 7, you must train your muscles to failure in order for them to grow. Now, I am an advocate for training to failure. I do think it's a good thing to implement in your training. Is it essential? No. It's great for hypertrophy and muscle growth, like I say, but it's not the most important thing. The most important thing in terms of muscle growth and hypertrophy is time under mechanical tension. So that is why, personally, when I lift, and I've got way more results since I started training again and training this way, is just I lift so much slower than everyone else in the gym. Really focusing on the eccentric part of the movement, that's the lengthening of the muscle. I do all of my reps at the same speed. My last rep, as hard as it may be, looks as good as my first rep. I don't lift as heavy as everyone else in the gym, but my muscles look more developed than 90% of them, and it's because of the way I train. I see people go in and do sort of 2-plate bench presses and stuff like that, and they look fine doing it, don't get me wrong, but they're exploding on the concentric part of the movement, and they're not getting very deep and spending, you know, to me a bench, you should stop at the bottom and then there should be a pause in there, and most people aren't training like that. I just think they're using a lot of other muscles. When I do it, I really feel like I'm just activating the chest, and that means I can't do a 2-plate deadlift. I probably could if I did it like them, but I can't do it with a pause, so I'm not even going to go up to that weight. It's an ego thing. Bring the weights down, spend time on the, like I say, the concentric part is important, but mostly the eccentric, the lengthening of the muscle, spending a lot more time under tension there and going to failure if possible. Like I say, is it essential? No, as long as you're getting enough mechanical tension on the muscle in your workouts, you will see hypertrophy. Number 8, probably the worst one, is if I train hard enough, I'll look like my sort of favourite Hollywood celebrity, fitness influencer, YouTuber, whatever. You just won't. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is. You are an individual. You've got your own strengths and weaknesses. You've got your own sort of genetic makeup, your own genetic potential. Most of these fitness guys, most of these YouTubers, most of the big names in the industry are all on steroids or TRT or something, some kind of performance enhancing drug or medication or supplement, however you want to frame it. And personally, I don't see any problem with that. It's their bodies, let them do what they want. It's none of my business. What I have got a problem with is when they're not honest about it. Some of them are honest enough to tell people, openly that they are on stuff, but then they'll lie about their dosages. Some of them are so cowardly that even though everyone knows they're on PEDs, they still don't admit it, and that just it's not on, because what that does is it sets unrealistic expectations for normal people who are working their arse off in the gym trying to look like something that's just unrealistic and they're not going to be able to do. Like, do you really think you're going to look like Chris Hemsworth if you get his center app or whatever it's called, his fitness app? That might be someone else's, whatever his is. Do you think if you train like him you're going to look like Thor? Fuck no, it's not going to happen, because he's on a shitload of steroids. He's got the best dietitians working with him. His diet's on dial. Yeah, his training's going to be on point, exactly what you need, but he's got all these other assistances that are allowing him to look the way he does, and most people don't have access to that. It costs a lot of money as well to have what he probably has the infrastructure around his training plan to look the way he does, and normal people just can't afford that stuff, or most of us anyway. Like I say, you are an individual with your own strengths and weaknesses and your own genetic potential. The other thing to bear in mind is, even if you did all those other things that Chris Hemsworth is doing, he probably has a great genetic baseline before he ever started training. Maybe, I don't know, I'm just hazarding a guess. He probably already looked pretty athletic without even working out, and then when he worked out, he was building off a really strong foundation already. You know, a lot of us just have average genetics when we're not working with those sort of physiques to begin with. So, you know, like I say, I've not got a problem with anyone doing what they want with their body. It's up to you. Just be aware that you might be chasing a pipe dream, and you more than likely are. You only need to be going to the gym to better yourself, be the best version of you, be happy, be healthy, all that kind of good stuff. You know, improve your body, challenge yourself. It's all important, but at the end of the day, if you are trying to look a certain way to make yourself feel happy or worthy, then you're going to be disappointed, because you're always going to want more. And even if you got to a point where you didn't want more, you're probably still not going to have solved the root issue that's making you think like that. So that's all we're going to touch on today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Do you agree with this list? Let me know in the comments below. If you haven't already, can like, comment and subscribe, and it is hugely appreciated. As I say, one video a week from now on, guys. I'm going to stay on it. You have my word. So stick around. If you want to check out my socials, it's at Sunday Lifters on Facebook, TikTok and Instagram. You can also email me at sundaylifters@gmail.com for workout plans and coaching. Thanks again for tuning in, and I'll see you back here again very soon.